In a humble village, a poor woman gave birth to a son heralded by great fortune, a rare caul shrouding his tiny head, signifying luck and destiny intertwined. Prophets claimed he would one day rise to marry the king's daughter, a prospect that displeased the monarch. The king, who had a bad heart and was angry about the prophecy, went to the parents, tricking the parents into handing over their boy under false pretenses of providing him a privileged life. The king put it in a box and rode away with it until he came to a deep piece of water. Then he threw the box into it and thought, "I have freed my daughter from her unlooked-for suitor." Yet the box, buoyant and steadfast, found its way to a miller's mill. There, a kind-hearted miller's boy discovered the infant and raised him as his own, christening him somewhat fittingly, the luck child. As the years unfurled, the boy blossomed under humble guidance. During a royal visit to the mill one foreboding day, the king laid his gaze upon the vibrant lad, recognizing the boy from the past by providence and prophetic intuition. Seeking once more to snip destiny's thread, the king entrusted the boy with a letter to the queen wherein he said, "As soon as the boy arrives with this letter, let him be killed and buried, and all must be done before I come home." The luck child, innocent and dutiful, set forth on the journey, but lost his way among the looming trees of a dark forest, stumbling into the abode of an elderly witch. She warned him that the cottage was a den of thieves. Despite the warning, the boy stayed the night. The thieves, upon discovering the boy, were shocked to find a letter instructing them to execute him. However, moved by the boy's innocence, they decided to replace the death warrant with a letter promising the boy marriage to the king's daughter. The next morning, the thieves kindly guided the boy back on the right path. And the queen, when she had received the letter and read it, did as was written in it, and had a splendid wedding feast prepared, and the king's daughter was married to the luck child, and as the youth was handsome and agreeable, she lived with him in joy and contentment. The king returned to his palace, and was astonished to find his daughter married to the young boy. "But I commanded his death," he exclaimed. The queen showed him the letter, and he saw that it had been altered. Puzzled, he questioned the boy about the original letter. "I know nothing about it," answered he. "It must have been changed in the night, when I slept in the forest." The king, determined to get rid of the young boy, "Bring me 3 golden hairs from the devil's head, and you can keep my daughter," he declared. The young man, fearless and determined, boldly accepted the impossible task. The young man set off on his quest to retrieve the devil's golden hairs. Along the way, he encountered 3 people in distress: a town with a dried-up wine fountain, a town with a barren golden apple tree, and a ferryman eternally bound to his rowing. Each time, the young man confidently declared, "I know everything," and promised to solve their problems upon his return. When he had crossed the water, he found the entrance to hell. It was black and sooty within, and the devil was not at home, but his grandmother was sitting in a large armchair. "What do you want?" She did not look very wicked. "I like to have 3 golden hairs from the devil's head, else I cannot keep my wife," answered he. The grandmother, sensing the young man's sincerity and courage, agreed to help him. To ensure his safety, she transformed him into an ant and instructed him to hide within the folds of her dress. But the young man, ever curious, had 3 more questions. Why had a once-flowing wine fountain dried up? Why had a tree that once bore golden apples become barren? And why was a ferryman forever bound to his endless rowing? The witch, though hesitant, agreed to help him find the answers. She warned him to remain silent and listen carefully to the devil's words as she retrieved the golden hairs. The witch, by strategically pulling out 3 of the devil's golden hairs, tricked him into revealing the answers of the 3 questions. As the young man secretly listened in on the devil's conversations, he learned that a toad hidden beneath a stone in the well was causing the issue. Armed with this knowledge, he informed the realm, and the problem was promptly resolved. Next was the enigma of a golden apple tree that bore no fruit. Once again, Eavesdropping on the devil proved fruitful. The young man discovered that a mouse gnawing at the tree's roots was preventing its growth. With this insight, the roots were protected, allowing the tree to flourish once more. Lastly, the ferryman who was eternally bound to his boat yearned for freedom. He only needed to hand the oar to the next passenger to break his servitude. The young man shared this revelation, breaking the ferryman's chains forever. Having fulfilled all conditions and acquired the 3 golden hairs, the young man returned triumphantly to the king's castle. Not only did he complete the impossible task, but he also offered solutions that healed the troubled lands he traversed. In gratitude and admiration, each gave him 2 asses laden with gold. At last, the luck child got home to his wife, who was glad to see him again. To the king he took what he had asked for, the devil's 3 golden hairs, and when the king saw the asses laden with gold, he was quite content and said, "Now all the conditions are fulfilled, and you can keep my daughter. But tell me, where did all that gold come from?" The greedy king, eager to experience this miracle firsthand, insisted on being ferried across the river. However, the ferryman, following the devil's advice, handed the oar to the king, leaving the king eternally trapped as the ferryman.